Welcome to the Modern Caveman. It's your boy Quasi, and today we are going to look at the 10 most impressive feats of human athleticism. I'm going to try and put in perspective for the average human being so we see how ridiculous and spectacular these feats are. Number 10, Usain Bolt 200 meter world record, 19.19 seconds. When we think of Usain Bolt, we often think of his frankly ridiculous 100 meter world record. That's the only man to have ever dipped under 9.6 seconds. He ran an impressive 9.58 seconds. However, in my view, his 200 meter world record is even more impressive, and here is why. Having already run 4 rounds of the 100 meters and 3 heats of the 200, this was Bolt's 8th run in 5 days. And the splits, he ran the first 100 meter curve in 9.92 seconds, making it only the second time a human being born on Earth has run a bend in less than 10 seconds. The only other time? Yep, you guessed, the man himself, Usain Bolt, when he broke the previous world record. Now let's put this record in perspective. The previous world record had stood for over 12 years until Bolt came and broke it by 0.02 seconds. He then came and further obliterated it by running 19.19. To put this in perspective again, only 2 other men have run under 19.5, and Bolt comes in and runs 19.19. Eddie Hall, 500 kilogram deadlift. We've all seen feats of human strength that boggle the mind. We've seen strong men pull cars, buses, and even airplanes. But the idea that a human being could deadlift 500 kilograms was seen as beyond the reach of human strength. In comes Eddie Hall with a lift so ridiculous his body went into shock. To put this lift in perspective, it's the equivalent of just over 8 average human beings being lifted off the floor in one smooth motion, making it easily one of the most impressive feats of strength ever witnessed on camera. You'd be glad to know he was fine after the lift. Number 8, Jan Zelefny, javelin, 98.48 meters. What else can I say about this world record, other than a man chucked a javelin roughly the length of a football field? Even the camera couldn't keep up. Number 9, Jonathan Edwards, triple jump, 18.29 meters or 60 feet. Okay, let's put this 60 feet jump in perspective. Think of the length of a London bus. Now double it. How many jumps will it take you to get from one end to the other? 10? 8? Maybe 7 if you're really special. Well, this man did it in 3. Moving on. Number 6, Carmelita Jeter, 9.70 100 meter split. This to me was one of the most enjoyable races in track and field history. Tian Madison got off to a fantastic start. Hands off to Alison Felix, who ran, in my view, the best second leg we've ever seen in a relay. Now this wasn't it. It was impressive enough that this race set a world record. To say set a world record is an understatement. It destroyed the previous world record by about 0.4 seconds, which never happens in track and field. However, pay special attention to the anchor leg by Carmelita Jeter. She ran the final 100 meters in, you heard me right, 9.70 seconds. Now granted, she had a running start, but to put that run in perspective, only 3 men in history have run 100 meters faster than that, starting from the blocks. This is frankly one of the most underrated and ridiculous runs in history. Number 5, Katie Ledecky, 800 meter freestyle world record. You can be forgiven for thinking Katie was running in this race all by herself. She wasn't. The second and third place athletes were not even in the same camera frame. To put this in perspective, the second fastest woman, not named Katie, is a full 10 seconds behind. That's the second fastest woman in history, Britain's own Rebecca Adlington. Her personal best, which was also a world record at the time, is a full 10 seconds behind Katie's world record. Oh, and she was also only 15 years old when she set this. Right. Wilt Chamberlain 100-point basketball game. The famous Wilt Chamberlain put up 100 points against the New York Knicks in what is probably the single most famous performance in a basketball game. No one else has come even close since then. The closest anyone came was the late great Kobe Bryant, who put up 81 points. The big difference here is Kobe's 81 included 12 three-pointers. Wilt put up 100 in an era where the three ball didn't even exist. He's quite simply the most ridiculous scorer, and when we talk of the greatest scorers in NBA history, he's often not included because it's simply not fair. The man averaged over 40 points a game for over 500 games, averaged 50 points a game in a season, and just to prove to everyone that he could pass, he also led the league in assists. To put in perspective, the Charlotte Bobcats, or Charlotte Hornets as they call themselves these days, as a team averaged 102.9 points in the last NBA season. Wilt put up 100 points by himself. Case closed. Number 3, Florence Griffiths Joyner, 100 and 200 meter world record. How dominant was flojo? The good athletes, the great athletes, the all-time great athletes, and then there's flojo. Arguably the greatest track and field athlete of all time. Certainly the most dominant. When we think of dominance, we think Usain Bolt. However, flojo's times from a statistical standpoint were relatively more dominant compared to the rest of her competitors than Bolt's were. Her 100-meter time was so ridiculous, people questioned the electronic equipment when she broke the world record. They had to check the wind. The wind was perfectly still. It was a legitimate world record. It was just unbelievable. To put her run in perspective, if she had competed in the men's 100 meters in the last Olympics, she would have got to the quarterfinals. That's how dominant she was. No one has even come close to her times. The next fastest woman is 0.15, which is an age when it comes to sprinting. She set her world records in 1988, and no one has even come close since then. This is probably a world record we won't see broken anytime soon. As athletes don't even aim for her world record, that is considered completely unattainable. Flojo indeed is one of the greatest sprinters ever. Her 200 meter time is even more dominant, with the gap between her and the second athlete being wider than Usain's when he broke the world record. What more can I say about flojo? Rest in peace. Number 2, Zach Bitter, 100 mile, yes, 100 mile ultramarathon world record. Not only did this man run 100 miles consecutively, he also did it significantly under 12 hours, with the equivalent of a 6 minute 48 second per mile pace. Now 6 minutes and 48 seconds per mile is a good pace, is a decent pace for your average club runner, and not just a good pace, that's a good pace for a 10k or even a 5k. Now this man went and run that pace 100 times in a row. The equivalent of 363 laps around a track. And to make this even more ridiculous, he didn't stop after running that distance. He carried on for another 48 minutes to break another world record for the greatest distance covered in 12 hours. What a man, what a legend. I would say don't try this at home, but you probably couldn't even if you tried. I'd encourage you to watch his interview on the Joe Rogan Experience. This is truly one of the most motivational videos you ever watch. Number 1, the greatest feat of human athleticism. Eliud Kipchoge, sub 2-hour marathon. The famous Ineos Challenge, where Kipchoge attempted to be the first human being to run a marathon in under 2 hours. Never had it been done before. It wasn't thought to be possible. After several attempts, Kipchoge, in perfect conditions, finally made it happen. Now a 2-hour marathon is so impressive. I'm going to put this in perspective for a regular person. Get on a treadmill, set the speed up to 13.5. The average person could probably keep up that pace for a minute. Someone in shape, 3 minutes. Someone in really good shape, a borderline athlete, 5 minutes. Eliud Kipchoge kept up that pace for 1 hour, 59 minutes and 40 seconds. There's simply no words for it. It is easily, in my view, the greatest feat of human athleticism and the most impressive world record out there. Thank you very much for joining us. It's your boy Kwesi. Apologies for the long video, but there are too many great athletes and too many great feats to leave anything out. These are your 10 most impressive feats of human athleticism. It's the modern caveman signing out. Peace.